your girl Angie. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all like the angle that I have my phone and my cup holder? I like this because you get to like kind of see me, a good bit of my body. But I like this versus holding on by my hand. So I get to occasionally look down and I get to talk to y'all like this. I hope y'all don't mind it. But how was y'all weekend? I hope everybody's was good and productive. And if you didn't do anything this weekend, then that is good for you, because your girl was cleaning up the house, like, meaning I was cleaning up rooms just to prepare for my brother-in-law, because he was going to be staying at our house for the whole week, and I had to clean up that room because I had my nieces, they were in that room a few weeks prior, and I was just kind of putting that off due to the tax season. So the tax season's been kicking my butt, and now that it's kind of died down, I still have a few clients that I need to complete, and then I can move on to something else. But the thought of the day, though, because I met with a new client, and we had some brunch, and we were just talking, because her to get to know me, and I'm getting to know her as well. And then as we're talking, I noticed some common things amongst, small business owners, self-employed folks, that I thought that I just kind of just share with you. I realize a lot of self-employed people, they're a little bit disorganized, and I understand why, because they just focus on the business, they focus on growing it, they just on go mode, and they don't really think about the administrative aspect of it. They don't think about how to stay on top of their paperwork or their books until they're pointing out something, and sometimes they're so scatterbrained. So part of my job, I try to get them to refocus themselves, and I'll sometimes give them like a checklist, like a little organizer for them. So I'll sometimes do that to kind of help them structure themselves and try to get themselves a little bit more organized. Another thing that I realized with self-employed and small business owners, I really noticed a lot of them don't do their bookkeeping, and I guess that falls under being organized. So like being organized 2.0 is that they don't do great books, and I understand that not everybody have the means or have the money to pay someone to like do their books or pay an accountant, because it is a cost. But that is the reason why that a lot of self-employed individuals, that's like the main reason why that they're kind of disorganized, because while you focus on growing your business, then you should hire somebody or delegate certain tasks that you can't do or you have a hard time with. So if you know that you're struggling with getting your books and keeping up with your books, then just pay the money. It will wind up costing you a lot less had you pay for somebody versus you're trying to keep saying you're going to do it, and then when you finally do that, then you're kind of half-assing it, like you're not really putting a lot of intentionality into it. So you need to just hire somebody who's going to take the time out, and you can free up your time not really thinking about it. Only time where you really need to really worry about your books is to see what you got coming in, what you got going out, and kind of take a look at where you're spending the most, and to help being more on the analytical and the strategic side. So that's what I really noticed about a lot of small business owners. So, and that's a reason why accounting is not really highly prioritized, or it's not highly valued as it should, because it counts when it needs to count, but in general it just don't. And I would really just say, honestly, if you're definitely someone who's making hell, if you're making more than $15,000-$20,000 out of your business, even if it's a side business, you need to really hire somebody to do some sort of bookkeeping. Even if you hire them on a quarterly basis, try to negotiate with them if you can, or try to like barter something that you can trade that be of similar value. Because you want to hire somebody that knows what they're doing. So even if, as a small business owner, they're able to do their own books, some of them they got very basic understanding, and some of them even may not even do that well. So if you're gonna, I put it like this: if you're gonna pay an expert to fix on your car because you don't know it, you should pay somebody to get your business organized and structured in a way where it looks professional. And what I see is a lot of the time you have these business owners, they're wanting to get loans, they're wanting to get financing for stuff, but they don't never have any financial statements. And that's also part of, like, you have to realize that when you are a business, you have to learn how to sophisticate yourself and not think small time. Like, there's been periods of time like where I didn't necessarily legalize my business, become an LLC. I just operated as self-employment because I didn't need it to at the time. But now I see that I stand more to lose than to gain. Then it's best off if I just have an LLC. So y'all folks who want to get loans and want to get homes and stuff, and you guys need to get, especially like if you're a small business, y'all need to make sure like y'all all the way legitimatized, y'all all the way getting your books in order, because you just never know when it comes down to it, like where you may need to provide that to someone, and because you're not able to, then that says a lot more about your level of sophistication in your business, that hey, you shouldn't need to know how to do a P&L statement. And which probably brings me to my next point, is that because accounting is not highly valued, and it only is valued when the time comes, is don't reduce your accountant to only doing taxes. Because yes, they can do taxes, but they can actually do accounting. Like, they went to school for it, and you really get a lot of it. You do get a lot of value out of it, because the same way I told you that you need to understand where your money is going on a month-to-month basis. When people say to me, and this is very common, when I always ask them, well, how do you know you have enough money in there? Their response is always, well, I take a look at my bank account. That lets me know. But you looked at it today, but it can change throughout the day, or it can change the next day, or the next day, or the next day. That's not a habit that I encourage anyone, because even when checks were like a real popular thing, they managed checkbooks, and then each time you spend some money, then you write it down so you know how much money you have in there. So what that is that you're making sure you account for your money, so you won't get to a point to like where you're overspending or you operating in the red. And another point I would like to bring to light when it comes to small businesses is that y'all don't plan well. Like, y'all don't plan well at all. Because I always say, hey, you want to be on top of your finances and on top of your tax situation. You won't believe how many clients I have when it comes down to the tax season. They either want to ask all the questions regarding their tax stuff, and I always tell them, what you're talking about is tax planning. We can't tax plan in the current tax year. At this point, we are looking at compliance, and that's filing your return. If you want to have better tax planning, better tax strategy, this is what you need to do this year. So So some people, they're 3 months in asking questions. And so they're 3 months in asking questions in the year about stuff that, to be honest, it's too late for. And so therefore, they miss a huge opportunity to kind of clean up their finances or clean up their situation to get to their end result. And then they're surprised at the end of the year that, oh, I have a tax bill, or hey, why didn't I get back what I got the last time, or and don't realize that the tax season is not going to always be the same for you year. You can have a great year, or you can where you may not owe anything, and you can have a good year where you can have made a lot of money and you got to pay taxes. So a lot of business owners, they do not plan well, and filing their quarterly taxes is actually part of it. I don't know if sometimes if tax is just sometimes one of those things we just don't think about it until when it's time to think about it. But filing your taxes, that's also part of your personal finance. Like, that's also, it goes into the same category bucket as your spending, your investing, and budgeting. All of that falls in the same area of personal finance, of financial literacy. So if you're not planning well for your taxes and then you're getting surprised, like, do not expect your accountant or a tax preparer to work miracles for you. Because the way I look at it is, you should know if you work a W-2 job, you get taxes taken out. So why are we surprised that you have not made any effort to even research or ask an accountant, well, what are some of the ways that I can lower my tax bill? Or hey, I don't pay taxes. I haven't been paying taxes. What are the ways? That y'all go through the whole year and y'all never ask a question. And only when you get to when it's time to file your taxes, you got all the questions. Like, you're not doing good tax planning. And then you're expecting a miracle to happen. It's like, so you would think that as a American citizen, for me, because I work a W-2 job, that it's okay for me to go to work and get all these damn 30% taken out of my taxes and whatever. But you feel like because you're you that you don't get taxes taken out of your check. Like, I mean, you don't have to pay taxes. It's like, come on, make that make sense. And that's why a lot of self-employment folks, they don't file taxes because they know they owe. And I said, well, what is not filing taxes going to do? Because you already got a penalty to failure to file, and then you got a whole lot of interest attacked on there. And then to add more insult to further more injury, is that after you hit a certain threshold of taxes that you owe, the IRS can come after you, right, and get you for a tax evasion. Especially like if you're upwards of $50,000, like, you think they're not gonna come and try to collect their money from you? Like, you think you're that smarter? You're that smarter than the government. I don't know, folks. They seem to think so, but whatever. And then I think that one of the last key things, I want to mention when it comes to a lot of small business owners is they don't listen. They don't listen, okay? And I understand that, when it comes to, like, your talent and your craft, like, you're good at what you do. Nobody's debating that. But what I'm saying is that if you have a business, a lot of them don't go to school for a business. A lot of them just know their craft, and they know they want to make a business out of it, and they want to focus on growing it. That's all they want to do. But when you get into the nuance of having good business acumen, having somebody who understands business and actually went to school for it, like, you would think that you would want to learn all what you can so you could be the best that you can possibly be business-wise, and be able to hire people that can care about your business and want to see it grow or want it handled proper in its proper protocol. But no, you have business owners, what they will do because they feel like because they're able to come and generate the money that they don't need to be told how to run their business. And it's like, well, but you're not running it appropriately. Customer service is everything nowadays. If you're not giving good customer service and, then it's pretty much like your business, nowadays people, they give reviews. And we're living in a world like where social media is at the front of everybody's life. So you have to be really careful what you do because people will out you and they will expose you, and that can harm your reputation, that can harm your brand. So you just got to be careful with that. But yes, a lot of business owners, I don't want to say they have the arrogancy about them, but it's just like it's hard to try to tell a person the proper way to do something if they feel like they have a secret sauce, if they feel like that they already know what it takes to build their business. But a lot of times when they don't grow, the reason why when they don't grow as they could or is because they may not follow certain protocols, or they're quick to abandon protocols and then they don't think of it in a professional, in a corporate sense. They don't treat their business like a corporation would. So they're so busy, treating it like it's a side hustle, and you can't treat your business, if you want it to grow and you want it to become great, treat it like a corporation. I guess one last thing that I'll probably add to that, or maybe I don't need to add to that. Oh, this is not all businesses, but some of them will. Some of them would cheat their way into, like, when it comes to, and I'll go back to this whole accounting and accountant or whatever. Some people will cheapen to try to cut costs, but they'll cut costs on where you should not cut costs, right? So I had this one client that when I got to him, he already had an accountant doing his books. So I know he was paying him a few $1,000s to do the books. I happened to do the corporate returns, and I charged him accordingly. So I guess he figured that he would fire that accountant and just put some hodgepodge spreadsheet together and say, oh, I can work with that. Now y'all know that wasn't gonna fly with me, because I would just kindly tell him, like, no, I can't work with this. If it was a Schedule C situation, that could be fine, but I'm working with a corporation, which you're working with a balance sheet, so this not gonna work. I said, either you can do it yourself or pay somebody to do it, or I can do it for you, but there's no way you're not about to cheapen you. And then when I looked at his business from an income revenue, this man making over $300,000. So it was like, so you got a lifestyle problem. When it started to get to like where people started to nickel and dime over crazy stuff that does represent less than 10% of their revenue, then that reads to me you got a lifestyle problem. And you feel like the best way to cut costs is cut out what the thing, like the important thing to kind of keep your business organized and running. And some of these people with these high income, to be honest, like when I go back to my first argument, they're like there are a lot of disorganization I recognize when it comes to, especially people with the higher incomes. Like, they're very disorganized. They got a lot going on. They got a lot of moving parts, and it's like, well, you need to get somebody to do your books because you have a lot going on. And if we get you centered to where we get you organized, you will kind of make better decisions. But making a decision by cutting off an admin function is not what's gonna get you, gonna make it there. What? Because you saved a few $100s a month. Like, bro, if you have a money problem, you just got a money problem. A few $100s is not going to cut it. You got too much stuff that you're financing that you probably need to cut out. But shaving $300 a month because you're trying to be cheap about it, and you're gonna have to pay it on the front end or the back end. So of course I gave him a major discount, but I said, hey, this is gonna be $1,000 because this is over 1,100 transactions, and I wasn't even gonna debate. It's either we're gonna do it or we don't. So it took a while to do his books because there's a lot of moving parts on there. And then on top of that, they didn't have the Microsoft Suite. So they were like PDFing me. So it was just very inconvenient for me. That sometimes that, I don't want to say I lack patience in that manner, but I have to say that when it sometimes comes to repeating myself repeatedly and people are still wanting to do what they want to do, then I want to say I get a little bit agitated for that because it's all about being accountable. Like everything that I'm talking about is being accountable as somebody self-employed or somebody business owner. And they don't, outsourcing in my experience has been the best that like really worked for me. I've done a lot of outsourcing on a lot of things that saved me a lot of time. And also the creativity value aspect of it, because there are just certain people at minds, like how it works, that my mind can't even do, that I'm going to hire somebody else because I like the way they see things and I want to hire them to do that. So I've learned to outsource a lot of the things nowadays, and it didn't run me no time to just pay a little $100 or $2 to get what I need to get done for that time, and I can just move on. So don't be cheap. just don't be cheap. I just feel like a lot of them are cheap when there's in areas where they don't need to be, and I think there's some areas that you see where they really spend the most. Like you spend the most of your money on crap. So, and this is just me. This is the accountant speaking to me. It's like I know I got some things I got to worry about, but I'm not the one making top income like that and just being totally irresponsible, like just totally just not dialed in. And don't get me wrong, like my husband's like that, when he because he makes a really good income, he's not dialed in like that either. And I keep saying, like, and you keep wondering where, where you paying $5,000 in credit cards, bill, like a credit card debt, $5,000 every single month. I said, I'm gonna tell you exactly where it's going. So I'm good at budgeting my money for the most part, but then sometimes I'm not so great. But I know I don't do a lot of crazy stuff, and some people, my clients rather, was like, well, we don't make that much money, and I'm sitting there looking at her like, girl, somebody lying. What you mean you don't make that much money? You make more than people that been living here forever. And I have clients, that work, that are not born here. So I have clients that are like Latin American, but they want the American dream. And I just tell them, like, look, in order for you to want the American dream, you gotta pay. Hell, I've been born here. I made it in the system. Like, you're not about to come over here and thinking like you about to get away, or you about to treat America like you treat your country and just try to fly up under the radar. No. In America, we look at tax returns. In America, we look at financial documents. In America, we paper. If your paper ain't right, you ain't got the coins, ain't got the money, then no service. So that's why I'm just like, I'm just thinking like these are some of the things that you experience when it comes to small businesses that I see a lot, and that's something that we kind of really need to change. But I'm just get off my soapbox though, and I thought I'd just kind of call it out there and get y'all to understand that, yeah, entrepreneurship is not hard, but it's even worse like when you don't come organized, if you don't come with your paperwork. Now there's very few people that come together with their paperwork ready for me to go. There's very, very few people that are on top of their books. And I respect a lot of them because it's like, look, if you don't want me to do this for you, I'm gonna have to charge, because my service ain't for free. At one point in time, like I used to do it for free, but it got to be like where I was growing. I got more clientele, and I needed to free up my time. And it was like I'm not making any money doing this type of task for you where I'm not getting compensated. So you just gotta know your worth, and you gotta let these businesses know, these individuals know, like, look, you have a business, so you gotta start treating it like it's a business and not treating it like it's a doggone side hustle. You can't you can't say, hey, I want to purchase this car, or I want to purchase this house, or I want a loan for my business, but you only show that you only made $1,000 in net income because you wanted to write every single thing out. And people just don't realize that when you tell the government you don't have any money, all in the sake of because you want to get a refund check, then that's what you got to deal with. You got to deal with all the consequences that come with saying that you have a low income until you're able to change that. But yeah, that's all the wisdom I thought I'd share with you all. And y'all have an amazing rest of your day. And thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification button so you won't miss out on any more of my videos that I will post. And I have made it home here, so I'll be parking my car. So peace.